Hi, and welcome to the Go-To Girls with your hosts, Lisbeth and Lynn.
This isn't just another podcast for women. This is a gathering place where we're going to share, enlighten, and laugh together as we nurture and nourish deep friendships with our listeners.
Women need spaces where they can be authentic, honest, curious, and feel supported. This podcast will remind the listener that life is just beginning and there is so much out there waiting for us to experience.
And every week we will share more stories, we'll share knowledge and our dreams, and most importantly, our hearts with this Go-To Girls community.
So settle in wherever you are as we begin our conversation that is intended to inspire, enlighten, and fill your soul.
Welcome to another episode with Lisbeth and Lynn. Here we are creating meaningful new friendships as we change and grow. Hi, Lynn. How are you?
Doing good, my friend.
Good. I am really excited to do this particular episode with you because you were talking in our intro about how friendships was not something that was particularly at the top of your list through your years, as your focus was on family and your work and so forth. But this is some new evolution inspiration that you've gotten, that friendships are very important. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I would say that when I was in my 20s and 30s and starting out work and family, actually, if I go back even further, even in high school, I wasn't like really reliant on friends. Like I was pretty independent and couldn't feel like I needed friends. And the few friends I had were actually male friends, not female friends. And part of that was because I had two older brothers, for one thing, so they were always full of fun and games. But I always found that hanging out with the boys was fun because they were doing kind of goofy, fun things. And it was more like being with my brothers. So I didn't really forge female friendship and didn't sort of feel a need for it. And I carried that into my 20s and 30s as well, really. And then later on, probably more into my 40s, I guess, I started to realize that I felt like I was missing something in my life, not having female friends and also not having male friends either at that point because of being married and such. So I just didn't have friends at all. And although my husband, I must say, is like a friend to me and always has been, which is lovely. But
your best friend.
He's my best friend. So I just decided that it was something I needed to take into consideration a bit more. But I didn't sort of go out and say, okay, but I'm going to go find some friends. It didn't kind of happen that way. It's the circumstances just kind of evolved and happened where I started to meet people. My new female friends came from my work, actually. There was a few of my clients that I really felt connected to, and I could have just let them go like I would normally after you see a client. I don't necessarily see them again afterwards for once the job is completed. But I really liked them, and I sort of consciously thought maybe I would keep that connection going in some level. So the few friends I had at that point in my 40s were people that were actually my clients, and that sort of helped me see the value in female friendship and also made me feel eager to perhaps forge other friendships and create connections with women that were even perhaps more in line or in tune with my beliefs and values and so on, because that would probably even enhance the relationships even more so. So it was a real evolution of feeling not needing to have friends at all the way now to really treasuring and value the new friendships I do have.
Yay, that sounds really nice. Yeah, it's funny because we've never talked about this, but I went through a bit of the same thing growing up. My friends were all guys. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because I was a tomboy.
Yeah,
I was always, I was always very active, and I didn't have that feminine...
No, I wasn't into fancy clothes. I was in the punk rock era, so I was in with, red Converse running shoes and army clothes and stuff like that. I wasn't into fancy clothes and didn't like shopping at all. Didn't want to do makeup or hair or make anything. So yeah. Yep. So I when I was when I was young, I wasn't into the girly things either at all. You know, I tended to hang out with the boys. I didn't dress I wasn't into fashion or style, much to my mom's chagrin. My mom was such a beautiful, elegant woman. I was like a massive, probably disappointment to her because I wasn't into clothes or nails or makeup. Or she tried to teach me to bake, and it was like, and sewing was a complete failure. It was like, I'd rather be out, working with my dad on the car or something. So I was definitely not a classic girly girl. And so yeah, like you, I just sort of drifted towards the guys because they were always off having big fun and doing crazy fun things.
I always said at my wedding I should have bridesmaids that were all men, because like a lot of, and in Denmark growing up, men and women are the same. Like that was a culture shock to me coming to Canada, how, women or girls are supposed to play over here and boys play over here. That was so foreign to me because in Denmark, there's absolutely no difference whether you're a guy or girl, friends or friends. So, and thank God, like my husband's always been very embracing and accepting of that. It's never been an issue for him because I wouldn't know how to do it any other way. Just like you, shopping, torture for me to this day.
It is for me too.
To this day.
Thank God for Amazon.
Yeah. As you know, I had to do a photo shoot not too long ago, and it's like I had to sit in a makeup chair. I haven't sat in one since I got married, and back and then in high school, the girls brought purses to school, and so for you were in army clothes. I was in sports outfits all the time. Like I played every sport there was. So it's interesting because we've never talked about it.
Yeah,
but we would have been great friends back in high school, Yeah, because, and I find even to today, like I still gravitate to men. So what happens is I have a few girlfriends and I really love them. They're my besties. But, and then I have like one bestie that's my bestie. But I have a very close, and of course you're in that circle of really close girlfriends. But I still gravitate to men because I find that the conversations are about a lot of intellectual, about what's going on in the world and so forth. And like I said, with a few girlfriends like yourself, we can have those conversations. But, I don't want to label anybody, but a lot of conversations about, oh no, she said this and he said that. And I don't even have time for that kind of stuff. So I find friendships have become really important as the years have grown because we keep talking about the next chapter of our life, and there's a recognition that our kids are grown if we've had kids. We're still if we are married, we're in our relationships, but we even find that we need something separate from that kind of is just ours. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes, yeah. It's a different, I mean, like the friendships you have with men, even with, our backgrounds of preferring to be in men's company, that isn't a possibility of having the deeper connection with a male friend, I find. So it's just a totally different connection that you have with a woman. And I didn't really felt like I was missing it or needed it until more recently in my life. And now that I have it, then I realize now that how important it was. And maybe it wasn't necessary originally, but it certainly is now. Now that I'm older, I find that I need and value that kind of a relationship far more than I would have ever in the past.
And you know where I think it comes from? I think it comes from when you've been, whether you're a mother or not, but that whole nurturing and that whole putting so much energy into our kids. And so we still have that energy, that mothering, that heart energy, again, whether you've had kids or not. And it's like, I feel like that's what women give each other. We give each other support where we can sit and listen to each other. We don't have to fix each other. We're not looking to, okay, let's just find an answer and let's move on. We can just sit and listen, and we can sit and just learn. Nobody has to be right. Nobody has to be wrong. And there's a camaraderie there. Mm-hmm. Like I know when I talk to Ed, and we have that too. Like we have such a close connection. He's definitely my best friend, for sure. And the viewpoints that we share what I love is it's a different perspective because it's a male perspective. Where when I sit in a group of women, it's different because the best way I can say it feels supportive. Right?
Yeah. And I think as we age, like the older I get, I think the more important that is, like having a group of women that are your friends and like they're going to be there for you for the ups and the downs, and you know they're going to be there if you needed them because of health reasons or money reasons or whatever. Like it's just like you know that you're going to have that group of people that you really love and they really love you, and we would just care for each other for the rest of our lives. That's that kind of feeling, right? And so even whatever life brings, you just know they're going to be your rock when the time comes, and they're going to be the ones you want to share your joyfulness with.
And if you're somebody out there that's looking for a group that doesn't feel that you have really found that your people, if you will, your tribe, we are embracing all women, all people into our group, into our community. If you're vibing with what it is that we're sharing on these episodes, because that's the intention, right? Is interactive. We're not here talking at you. We are here as a community inviting you in and saying, hey, we would love for you to take part. We would love for you to share your feelings, your thoughts, what it is that really interests you. So we can create that virtually and have that connection. So if you're one of those people that have always struggled to either find those friends or maintaining friendships or never having really felt that depth where you had to try and be something that you're not, welcome in. We are very much about authenticity, not having to mask anything, not having to be anything. We're not interested in labels or qualifications. This is all about soul connection. This is all about heart connection and interactive, meaning that we are part of each other as a community.
I think in our first episode, we talked about sort of our vision or dream for this podcast is, involving people in it and becoming part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And that can be initially, just communicating with us by making comments on our podcasts or emailing us. And eventually, I'm excited at the notion of having group, some of our listeners wanting to be part of the discussion and doing maybe once a month or something. We do a little group chat with any of our listeners that want to be a part of it. We can do like a Zoom call and record it, and we can have 2 or 3 or 4 other people involved in the conversation, which would be really fun. And it's a nice way for people to connect with each other, and for whatever circumstances, some people just find it difficult to make a connection with people out in the world, and this could be a way of helping.
Well, for some people it can be a mobility issue.
Sure,
for other people, they are maybe introverts. For other people, anxiety prevents them from getting out there. But for others, it's easy to make connections, and we're just another hit that they have come across. I'd really like to be part of this group. And a lot of the things that we're talking about really resonate for them. And all I'm saying is there's room for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and this is great because there's no brick and mortar. We're not limited to how many people can join this group and this energy.
That's right.
So talking a bit more about the friendships is so I have this best friend, and we literally talk together every day. So we were talking this morning before we were starting this podcast, and it's incredible how because I would say in many ways we're opposite. So we always laugh and say, she takes care of everything on the outside, I take care of everything on the inside. And because she's just so amazing at fashion, and she's so amazing at even my house, like setting it up the way that it needs to be and all of that. Like she's got a real good detail what is it they say, a good eye for detail.
Yes.
That's what it is. And so I ask myself, like, what is this thing that you talk every day? Like, and it's not that we have to talk, there's nothing set up, but it's like a check-in. And it's just knowing that somebody else is thinking of you. Like, good luck with your podcast today. I know you've been really excited about it, that type of thing. And it's just that feeling that there's somebody that's caring and thinking about you. It just gives you something, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And it just made me think how much I miss my mom. I'm going to cry again.
That's okay. Remember, crying is the strength, right?
So, like my mom was such a good, this will be a fun topic to cover too, is relationships with moms.
There
right?
you go.
Like each other. Because,
another episode yet again.
Because my relationship with my mom wasn't great when I was younger. And a lot, it'll be fun sort of sharing the story of how my mom and I grew to become the very, very best of friends. Like from a relationship that was like kind of cool and a bit distant. I didn't feel, I would never go to her to tell her anything I was going through or problems or anything like that. She was, often phone calls were more out of obligation rather than being inspired to want to talk to my mom. But that totally changed, and she became my best friend and confidant. And she passed away 4 years ago now at age 93. And because I am older, it's not uncommon for us people to have lost their moms by this age. And it just left such a big hole in my life not having her. And thankfully, I had people like you and other friends that have become close to me that have helped to fill that void. I would lean on her and she on me. But now that we don't have each other in that way, it's lovely to have these new female friends that have become, someone
soul sisters.
Soul sisters. Yeah, exactly. Soul sisters. We even
exactly
call ourselves that, don't we?
That's exactly what we call ourselves, that we have our little tribe of our friends there.
Yeah. And interestingly, it's not like it seems effortless to have you guys as friends, because it's not like maybe the way people think of friends where you have to see them every week or every second day or talk to them all the time. Like, I really feel like we all live our lives and we just flow in and out of each other's lives. Some just the one or two of us, or it might be all four of us getting together. And it just seems to flow naturally, and we're there when we need to be with each other. And I love that there doesn't feel a sense of obligation to the friendship. It's just a natural sense of connection when we're together as 1, 2, or 3 or 4 friends. It's nice.
Yeah. And everyone is just so fully accepting of each other and our different energies, right? And like you said, I think that's the key for these friendships, is when it feels effortless. You don't have to be something in order to be liked or accepted, or another main thing with friendships is when it's draining. If you have that friend that's always going through something, there's always something bad happening. And I found earlier in my life, I seem to attract that. And I really wanted to get away from that. And it's not because I don't understand or accept that people have challenges in life, and we all do, right? But there's just this feeling with when it becomes habitual, right? It's almost like there's a payoff to this drama. And I find that then when that's done, then it's like you're looking for another drama, because it's feeding something.
And you're not doing them any favors by maintaining that kind of a friendship.
That's right.
I had it wasn't friends in my case, it was family. But when my dad died, he died quite young at 56 years old, sudden heart attack. It was a sudden death. It felt like my family looked at me and thought, well, you're the one most like Dad, so we're going to all pile on you. So it seemed like everything that any problems or issues and problems between family members or problems in general, it seemed all of a sudden like I was the rock they were all clinging to. I was young still, so I was only 27. So I didn't know what to do with that. And it was really, it caused me so much pain and grief in my life. It was awful. It actually, I would say it was one of the big contributing factors to the failure of my first marriage. It was so overly consuming. And
another episode arises.
And I just had, my son was only 1.5 years old, and our marriage failed, and I had all my family clinging and all these problems, and it was like I was, talk to Lynn, she'll fix it, she'll figure out how to do it, or she'll do it for you, or whatever. It was that kind of thing. And it just weighed me down so bad, and I just didn't know what to do. I didn't have maybe the life experience to know how to handle it, and I didn't think to help get any sort of coaching or counseling or anything like that. So I just threw my hands up in the air. I sold everything I had, left the marriage, took Alan and my son, got on a plane, and I flew to England, and I left for 4 years.
Well, that's one way to get away from it all.
I didn't know how to handle it, so I ran away. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So it was bliss, I have to say. I really enjoyed that 4 years, because life's different in England and in Europe in general. I find, like, around the Toronto area here, it feels like there's a vortex of energy, and it's not a good one. Yeah. And I felt like really sucked into that with my work and everything else. It was just like go, 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 go all the time.
Yeah.
When I went there, it's just not like that. Plus, I went to rural England. I wasn't in the city. So it really was a healing time. It was awesome. And in a nutshell about that, I just, I did get some counseling there. You know, I felt like I knew how to handle the situation better. And eventually I did come back 4 years later. And interestingly, as soon as I came back, everyone piled on again. It was like I never left. You know, it was just like exactly the same dynamics between us all. But the difference is that I now recognize that, and I changed. They didn't change, but I did. And so I wasn't responding to them the same way. And over a period of time, they gradually just sort of stopped hanging on to me for all their advice and help and support. And they became their own people. They handled it themselves. And that's what I mean by you're not doing them any favors. It's, you know, I was, by doing everything for them and trying to be the one that solved all their problems, I was denying them the opportunity to experience the joy of success or the joy of solving their own problems. Or it's like, you know, some people, they don't like getting gifts, but they love giving it, and they love the feeling of giving gifts. Yeah. And then you kind of say, oh, don't get me that, or I don't need that present, or don't buy me anything. Yeah. But they're denying those people of their joy of the giving, right? So it's like the same thing, where by denying somebody the joy of solving their own problems and growing emotionally and becoming more evolved people, you're denying them that joy of growing themselves.
And that is the same as friendships, right? Tying it into friendships, whether it's family or friendship, it really holds the same flag, doesn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And so friendship is very much about a giving and a receiving, and just feeling, as I said, the key in this particular case is effortlessness.
Yes.
Right? Like, it should be effortless. Everybody has different interests and passions, and that's why different people have different types of friends. And as long as it feels resonant with you, then that's really what matters. One of the key things that I find probably the most important is authenticity. Mm-hmm. Like, I just don't know how to be pretentious, and I can feel somebody pretending miles away. And I don't have any time for that. Mm-hmm. And where there's an agenda, and that's what I always say, like, there's an agenda, you know? And so it's feeling that energy where A, you feel it totally authentic, and B, you're not competing with one another. Because that's another thing I do find that some women do, is they compete with each other, you know, who's got what, and it's done very under the wire. So it's indirectly that it's kind of cute. And I know you're sitting across from me thinking, I don't even know those people, because I have nothing to do with those people. But I sent my kids to school, so I saw it, you know, in the parents groups. I used to volunteer in the schools, and so there was a lot of kind of that back, you know, behind closed doors type of thing, and that kind of stuff I don't have any time for whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Yeah Right, like I said, you're looking at me like, I don't even do those relationships.
I don't go there. Like, I'm the queen of blunt. Like, I to me, truth is all that matters when you're having a relationship. And I will tell the truth no matter what the consequences. I'm not cruel about it or anything like that. In fact, humor often plays a big role in that. Like, you can kind of get your point across by making a little bit of a joke out of it or something like that. But I do believe it's really important to always be telling the truth
I agree.
when you speak to people, and a lot of people don't. They sugarcoat things, or I figure people can handle everything that comes their way. I don't need to blunt it in some way.
And it makes both of you free.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because everyone feels free. Like we're not, I got to go see her, or I got to go do this, or
it's like walking on eggshells. I can't cultivate those kind of friendships at all. Like it's too.
Talk about maintaining a garden. That garden will die pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and really, now that I speak of the garden, friendships is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And like everything starts with friendship. It's from the seed, right? And so the more organic the seed is, and the more the nutrients the soil is, when that seed begins to grow. And I think that's the same thing with friendship. It just naturally evolves. I'm trying to think of how we got together. Oh, that's right. You came to see me. That's right. Years ago. And as a client, and then we just hit it off right from there. And the next thing I know, I used to own a spiritual center, and our whole spiritual center was up having a beautiful fall harvest in your gorgeous, I want to call it mansion up there, because that's really what it felt like. And do you know that you're in my Facebook profile picture? It's literally a picture of your house.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, with our whole community gathered for our
harvest those
lunch.
Were our soul family dinners we had. I had a big vegetable garden, and then just invite a group of friends to come. We would charge for the meal, right? And then all that money we'd pick the charity for each year, and then everybody would come. I'd have 45 people come. We'd all go pick vegetables and prepare food together in our kitchen, and then we'd all have a nice meal together. And that was the source of many new friends as well, because although I might have known, 5 or 10 of the people, they all brought people they knew and friends, and new friendships blossomed from that as well.
I know. I that's how we connected.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we both had things happen in our life, and it kind of separated for a while, but we always stayed connected. And then now it's like we're on the same road, and I feel like we're on this narrow road together now. It's funny because
walking arm in arm.
Like I feel like we've come back together, but in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like we went away to do whatever we needed to do to create this together.
Yeah, I feel that too.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is.
So thank you so much for this beautiful friendship that you and I have created. And what the best part is that we're sharing it with the world. And this organic garden is just going to grow and grow of all these beautiful, beautiful friendships.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Lisbeth.
Oh, thank you, Lynn. We're gonna grow this huge community. So looking forward to our next episode now, which is choosing to let go of fear and worry and move into trust and faith.
Oh, that's going to be a fun one.
Say it
Woo.
again. Say it again. Oh my gosh, we can't wait to see you next week. Let's move into this trust and faith together.
Mm-hmm.
See you next week, everyone. Bye-bye.